For something that shaped every martial art, the rulebook is easy to miss. Techniques disappeared not because they failed, but because they worked too well. Groin strikes ended fights in seconds. Eye gouges haunted ancient pancration. Headbutts still split faces in lathe way. Each was judged the same way. Too brutal for competition. This is a countdown of 10 forbidden fighting techniques. Moves erased from sport because they left no room for safety. Don't miss out. Subscribe now to stay updated. Number 10. The Rabbit Punch. Boxing was already savage. Men fought under bare bulbs, gloves thin as paper, and crowds pressed against the ropes. Hidden in those contests was a strike so lethal it became synonymous with death. The Rabbit Punch. The Rabbit Punch is not a hook or a haymaker. It is a short, ugly, and aimed at the back of the head or base of the neck. The same spot hunters once struck to kill rabbits instantly, hence the name. Land it flush, and the brain ricochets inside the skull. Blood vessels tear. The brainstem can shear. One strike and consciousness vanishes, sometimes permanently. This is not speculation. In 2015, Puerto Rican prospect Pritchard Colon was hit repeatedly at the back of the head by Terrell Williams. He collapsed, slipped into a coma, and remains severely impaired to this day. Go further back, in 1947, British boxer Jimmy Doyle died after a punishing bout against Sugar Ray Robinson. Though the official cause was cumulative trauma, reports note blows straying to the back of the head. Referees now step in fast. The rule is clear across boxing, MMA, and kickboxing. No shots to the back of the head. The Rabbit Punch belongs to the history books, not the rulebook. Number 9. The 12-6 Elbow. Elbows are legal across striking arts. Muay Thai fighters open cuts with them. MMA fighters finish bouts with them. But one angle is still banned. The 12-6 Elbow. Straight down, like a clock, hand dropping from noon to 6. The strike was outlawed during the writing of the unified rules in the late 1990s. Regulators cited demonstrations, breaking boards and bricks with vertical elbows, and concluded the same strike to a human skull or spine could be catastrophic. Whether or not that science was sound, the decision was stuck. The most famous casualty of the rule was John Jones. In 2009, he dominated Matt Hamill, threw 12-6 elbows on the ground, and was disqualified. That lone disqualification remains the only loss on Jones's storied record, a 12-6 elbow. But in the eyes of regulators, it symbolized an unacceptable risk. And so, more than 25 years later, the ban still stands. Number 8. The Neck Crank. Chokes restrict air or blood until the opponent taps. The neck crank is something else entirely. It twists the spine itself. Catch wrestling used them to force quick concessions. Sambo absorbed them. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu recognizes them, but bans them in most tournaments. Why? Because the crank pushes the cervical vertebrae into unnatural positions, sideways, backwards, with torque that ligaments cannot withstand. Renzo Gracie once explained the danger bluntly. You can recover from a broken arm. A neck crank can end your career. He was right. A crank risks herniated discs, fractured vertebrae, even paralysis. Vale Tudo matches in Brazil during the 1980s showed the brutality. Fighters screamed in pain, tapped immediately, and left unable to stand. Even tough veterans admitted no one toughed out a crank. You did not gamble with your spine. Today, cranks survive in self-defense systems and military combatives, where the goal is to disable, not score points. In sport, they are locked away. The risk outweighs the spectacle. Number 7. Groin strikes. Every fighter protects the jaw. Few can defend the groin. Krav Maga teaches it as standard. Silat uses it in close quarters. In street fights, it is the great equalizer. A small person can fold a larger one with a single upward knee. Armies worldwide still teach it because it bypasses size, strength, and conditioning. In organized sport, it was a disaster. At UFC 4, Keith Hackney fought Joe Sun. Trapped in a tangle, Hackney fired strike after strike into the groin until Sun collapsed. The crowd gasped. The tape still circulates as one of the infamous moments in UFC history. Medical studies confirm the severity. Ruptured testicles can lead to infertility, chronic pain, or even life-threatening shock. Unlike the jaw or ribs, there is no muscle wall protecting the groin. The injury is direct, brutal, and irreversible. That is why the rulebook closes the door across martial arts. From karate tournaments to MMA cages, groin strikes are banned outright. Number 6. Heel kicks to the kidney. The early years of modern MMA were a laboratory. Anything not explicitly outlawed was tested inside the cage. Some ideas lasted, others were erased immediately. One of the latter was the heel kick to the kidney. A grounded fighter would lock their opponent in guard, then drive short, sharp kicks into the kidney with their heel. To casual viewers, it looked trivial. Doctors saw something else, an organ too delicate to absorb repeated blunt force. The kidney regulates blood pressure, filters toxins, and balances fluids. A direct strike can rupture it, spill blood into the abdomen, and trigger shock. Unlike a liver shot, which causes temporary collapse, a kidney injury can be fatal without rapid surgery. Early pancrase and UFC events saw fighters doubled over these kicks. By 1997, the unified rules banned them outright. The heel kick to the kidney never returned. Regulators saw enough in those first years to write it out of sport forever. Number 5. Small joint manipulation. Martial arts thrive on leverage. Arms can be bent, shoulders can be locked, knees can be twisted. But when that leverage is applied to the smallest bones, fingers and toes, the result is immediate destruction. Small joint manipulation is a staple of Aikido, Hapkido, Silat, and Chinese China. Grip a single finger, force it past its neutral bend, it breaks before the opponent can react. In battlefield systems, this was efficient. Disable a weapon hand, and the fight ended on the spot. In sport, it was chaos waiting to happen. Fighters can strengthen necks, can build thick forearms, they can learn to roll out of arm locks, but no amount of training can prepare the hand for a snapped finger. Early UFC promoters feared it. If allowed, a fighter could bypass skill and dismantle opponents by simply snapping digits. Commission stepped in and banned it universally. The ban preserved more careers than it cost. A broken arm heals. A broken finger leaves lasting weakness. Grip strength never fully returns. And in combat sports, grip is everything. Number 4. Spiking, the pile driver. Wrestling gave combat sports their most spectacular visuals. Bodies lifted high. Suplexes that rattled the ring. But it also gave them one of their most dangerous exports. Spiking, better known as the pile driver. The mechanics are cruel. The opponent is hoisted, inverted, and driven headfirst into the ground. In pro wrestling, it is staged. In jiu-jitsu and vale tudo, there is no staging. The cervical spine takes the impact. Paralysis or death can come instantly. The UFC banned it outright, but its shadow still looms. In 2005, Quentin Rampage Jackson was caught in Ricardo Arona's triangle choke in Pride. Instead of tapping, he powered Arona into the air and slammed him like a ragdoll. Arona went limp. The referee jumped in. He survived. That slam became a highlight reel legend. But it was also a warning. A degree lower, and it could have ended more than a fight. Spiking vanished from competition not because it lacked drama, but because no sport could afford a spinal fatality live on camera. Number 3. Throat strikes. Boxing polished the jab. Muay Thai perfected the knee. Ninjutsu and Silat taught something harsher, the throat strike. There was no point-scoring move. A palm edge or thumb to the windpipe silences an opponent instantly. In military training, it was the sentry removal strike. One blow, no cry, no recovery. The trachea is fragile. Unlike ribs or jaws, it does not knit clean. A collapsed windpipe suffocates in minutes. Even partial damage leaves scars that never fully heal. That is why combat sports ban it across the board. No trachea jabs, no thumb drives. Manuals from Japan still describe it. Krav Maga instructors still demonstrate it, but always with stern warnings never to practice at full speed. It is the strike every martial artist knows about, and the one no referee will ever allow. Number 2. Headbutts. Few moves are as primal as the headbutt. No glove, no setup, just skull driving into skull. The forehead is built for impact. Driven into a nose, it shatters cartilage. Slammed into an eye socket, it breaks bone. Fighters in bare-knuckle eras knew this instinctively. Modern sport banned it clearly. Cuts and fights too quickly. Concussions shorten careers. Without the ban, championships would be decided by bloodied stoppages rather than skill. But not everywhere. In Burmese Lathway, headbutts remain sacred. Fighters smash foreheads in clinch battles. Knockouts come from skull collisions. The ringside doctors treat faces carved open by bone, not gloves. Compared to modern MMA, it looks like combat unfiltered. Raw, savage, ancient. The headbutt is simple, efficient, and catastrophic. That is why every global rulebook outside Lathway calls it forbidden. Number 1. Eye gouging. One move sits above them all. Every culture, every era, every rulebook agreed. No eye gouging. The method is crude. Drive a thumb or finger into the eye socket, the result is blinding. Detached retinas, ruptured corneas, faces ruined for life. In war, it ended soldiers. In sport, it ended careers. Even the ancients banned it. Greek pancreation allowed chokes, joint locks, even bone-breaking holds. But gouging was considered dishonorable. When the UFC launched in 1993, with almost no restrictions, the first prohibition listed was the same: no eye gouging. Still, accidents shape history. In 2021, Leon Edwards raked Belal Muhammad's eye, ending the fight in a no contest. Stipe Miocic's trilogy with Daniel Cormier was clouded by repeated eye pokes. Those were accidents with gloves. Imagine the gouge barehanded. Eye gouging is not technique. It is mutilation. That is why it remains the universal line combat sports refuse to cross. These outlawed moves are windows into martial arts before sport. Efficient, brutal, final. Their removal did not weaken the arts. It saved them, turning contests into tests of skill, not survival. The deadliest techniques linger in manuals and militaries, but never under sanction. Not while referees guard the ring. On Martial Road, we follow those shadows. Remember to subscribe, like, and share, and see where they lead.